Well, we met yesterday, Larry, the President and myself. We met with the Republican leadership and the Democratic leadership in the House and Senate. And I think there is a realization that we have to do something about jobs, for example. There's an agreement. They said, well, by the way, okay, we support no capital gains for taxes for small businesses. We think the healthcare system is broken, has to be fixed. So it's the first time any of that has occurred. Do I think there's going to be the kind of bipartisanship I'm used to as all the years I served in the Senate? Not likely, but I do think there will be some more movement because there's a dual message being sent out there. It's not just that that Massachusetts election wasn't just about Democrats. It was about Washington's not working. And I don't think that Republican leadership is going to continue to conclude that the way they win is if the country loses.
You're the majority party.
We are the majority party.
You got all of the balls in your court?
Well, that's true, Larry, except take a look at that. I was a senator for 36 years. I got there when I was 29 years old. So I've been through 7 presidents, 8 now. And I've never seen a time when the operating norm to get anything passed was a supermajority of 60 votes. No matter what the bill is. It's filibustered. It's required to get 60 votes. You can't rule by a supermajority. You can't govern if you require a supermajority. And I think it's getting to the point where it's been abused, this idea of the filibuster or the threat of extended debate. And I think the public is taking it out. The Congress as a whole, Republicans and Democrats, are extremely low in the polls in the Congress. And I hope it's sinking in to everyone that the American public sent us all here to solve certain problems. And everybody knows. It's a little bit like the Middle East. Everybody knows the outlines of a final settlement. Has to do with a two-state solution, et cetera. Everybody knows. We have to change our energy policy. We have to change our education policy. We can't lead the world with the...
You optimistic about a jobs bill?
Well, I am optimistic. I think now, the jobs bill, I think, will be probably less than is needed initially, but it will be very helpful. I think the House already passed the jobs bill. I think the Senate will pass a jobs bill. And I think, Larry, look, by the spring, I think people are going to begin to have more confidence in the policies we put in place. But I think you're going to see net creation of jobs every month. I think you're going to see now it's not going to be 7 million jobs in the next 6 months, but I think you're going to move from, we lost 20,000 jobs last month. I think you're going to see it move to, I'm making a number up, 50,000 created, or 12,000, then 20, and then 100. But I think what people need now, when you're sitting at your kitchen table, Larry, in the neighborhoods I grew up in, and you don't have a job, or you're about the rumor is you're about to lose your job, your company's about to go under, or you can't pay the mortgage in your house, let me tell you something. That's a depression for you. And my grandpa used to have an expression, we're from Scranton, he'd say, the guy up an elephant when he's out of work, it's an economic slowdown. When your brother-in-law's out of work, it's a recession. When you're out of work, it's a depression. Well, it's a depression for millions of Americans. And it's understandable why they're angry and frustrated and concerned. But we took this job knowing we were facing a gigantic hole we would have fallen into.
Inherited it.
We inherited it. And by the way, we can argue that old expression, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. We'll find out whether what we're doing makes sense.
Did the president waste too much time on health?
No. No, look, you cannot get control of the deficits unless you deal with entitlements. One of the biggest entitlements is Medicare, Medicaid. 47 cents in every dollar spent now for health care nationwide is spent by the government. The cost curve is going up like this. You got to bend it. The only way you can do that is reform health care.
You're going to get a health bill?
I think we will.
Really think so?
I really do. I think we will.
You know, the Republicans start from the beginning again?
Well, I don't care what they call it as long as it does 3 things. 1, bends that cost curve so it doesn't go up 40% a decade and just makes it impossible to gain control of our fiscal house. 2, make sure there's a fighting chance for people who don't have insurance to get it. 3, make sure those who have it are not subject to the kind of thing Blue Cross out in California just announced, a 39% increase in health care costs. And 4, make sure that there is a circumstance where people are not able to be whipsawed by the insurance companies. Imagine if you went through what you and I went through in our health problems, and if we were 40 years old and we lost our job. How do you get insurance, Larry, the pre-existing condition?
We share that club.
Yeah, no, we are part of that club.
All I have to do is say her name, Sarah Palin.
I like her.
Wanted your job.
Yeah, but, everybody
You
keeps
like her?
I do. I like her. She's an engaging person. She has a great personality. I don't agree with what she says, and I think some of the things she says are not. Well, I think.
Say?
Well, it's sort of like some of the comments made are just so far sort of out there. I just don't know where they come from. But if you met her, she's an engaging person. I understand why people like her.
Do you fear her in a sense, politically fear her?
No, I don't. Look, I've not done as much the raw politics as I used to do when I was a senator. I mean, this job I've been given big chunks of assignments, Iraq, this, et cetera. So I'm not up to being able to give you the poll numbers. But my sense is that Governor Palin appeals to a group of people who are genuinely frustrated, feel disenfranchised, are very conservative, not all of them.
Tea Party
and Tea Party people, but beyond that, she has appeal beyond that as well. But I don't know that it represents anything approaching a significant portion of the population.
All right, you mentioned Iraq.
Yeah.
If I had to tick them off, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, what worries you the most?
What worries me the most is
That group.
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
You've heard me say that for the last 10 years. I think it's a big country. It has nuclear weapons that are able to be deployed. It has real significant minority of radicalized population. It is not a completely functional democracy in the sense we think about it. And so that's my greatest concern. I am very optimistic about Iraq. I think it's going to be one of the great achievements of this administration. You're going to see 90,000 American troops come marching home by the end of the summer. You're going to see a stable government in Iraq that is actually moving toward a representative government. I've been there 17 times now. I go about every 3 months. I know every one of the major players in all the segments of that society. It's impressed me. I've been impressed how they have been deciding to use the political process rather than guns to settle their differences.
Iran nuclear, worry?
A concern, a real concern, not an immediate concern in the sense that something could happen tomorrow or in the very near term. But what I worry most about with regard to Iran, if they continue on the path of nuclear weapons and we're able to gain even a modicum of the capability, then I worry what that does, Larry, you know the Middle East, what pressure that puts on Saudi Arabia, on Egypt, on Turkey, et cetera, to acquire nuclear weapons.
So
that's very destabilizing.
Last week on terrorism, the heads of the major U.S. intelligence agencies told Dianne Feinstein that another attempted terrorist attack on the United States is coming certain in the next few months. What do you make of that?
Well, look, let me put it this way. The idea of there being a massive attack in the United States like 9/11 is unlikely, in my view. But if you see what's happening, particularly with Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, they have decided to move in the direction of much more small bore but devastatingly frightening attacks. Detroit. But I think what you're seeing morphing here, and there's a concern to us, is you will see the concern relates to somebody like a shoe bomber or the underpants bomber, the Christmas attack, or someone just strapping a backpack on them with explosives that are indigenous and blowing up, walking.
So that's going to happen.
Well, I think there are going to be an attempts. I hope I've been really impressed. As I said, I've been for 8 presidents, Larry. I used to be in the Intelligence Committee. I was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. It's something I spent my professional life doing. I've been really impressed with the success we've had building on the last administration and dealing with these.
We're running out of time. Condolences on your mom.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Well, look, I was lucky. You were her favorite. Literally, there was not a single night you could walk in her living room and not have you on television.
Great seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Let's do it more often.
I'd love to do it.